I'll take my chances, buddy.
This is where you get out.
Detective Wallace has finally put the pieces together after quietly investigating Batista's erratic behavior, digging into the Bay Harbor butcher case, and keeping an eye on Harrison. She knows the truth. Dexter Morgan isn't just a loving father and quiet presence in New York. He's the Bay Harbor butcher.
So you think about midnight then?
I'll try to make it sooner.
Can you say bye-bye, Daddy?
Bye-bye.
Did you hear that?
He said die-die.
Don't be silly. He said bye-bye. Harrison's first word. There's your good boy.
I hope so.
Bye-bye.
From the mouth of babes.
But how did Wallace get here? And why does this revelation completely shift the power dynamics in Dexter? Resurrection?
You were with Miami Metro Homicide, correct? Your old colleague, Angel Batista, paid me a visit.
Right. Batista. He was a good guy. Kind of spiraled when he found out his partner was the Bay Harbor butcher. Maybe you've heard of him? James Dokes. He was never really the same after that.
I'm sure that was upsetting. For everyone.
Let's break it down and explore how Wallace figured it all out. Episode 8, The Kill Room, Where It Happens, initially pointed the spotlight at Batista. He was desperate, more obsessed than ever, to prove Dexter's guilt. Batista secretly tracked Dexter, convinced he could finally catch him red-handed. And for a moment, it looked like he might succeed.
I've placed a tracer in Mr. Morgan's vehicle, and I will be logging locations where Dexter spends significant periods of time.
But instead of exposing Dexter, Batista ended up exposing himself. His tracker malfunctioned. He arrived at a supposed kill room only to find nothing. No body, no Dexter, no evidence, just plastic sheeting and his own paranoia. To Detective Wallace, this wasn't the work of a sharp investigator. It was the meltdown of a man clinging to ghosts. Add in the fact that Batista was impersonating a captain when in reality he had already retired, and his credibility collapsed even further. Wallace began to see Batista not as a hero, but as a liability. And Dexter, he only looked more convincing in painting Batista as an obsessed ex-cop with a personal vendetta.
But he was here.
And why did he run away?
Because he was scared of the Bay Harbor butcher.
The man who ran, the would-be victim. Did you get his name? Identification?
It all happened so fast, you know. Look, I'm not lying. Dexter must have found it. He must have destroyed it. He's smart, finds himself out of everything. Why are you looking at me like that?
How are we looking at you?
But here's the twist. Batista's spiral didn't distract everyone. For Wallace, it sparked something deeper. The more Batista ranted about Dexter, the more Wallace quietly began to investigate. She didn't believe his every word, but she couldn't ignore the inconsistencies. First, she called Quinn, another of Batista's old associates. What she learned shocked her. The Bay Harbor butcher case was closed years ago. The man pegged as the killer, Dokes, had been framed. And Batista. He had retired suddenly with no clear reason why.
Miami Metro Homicide, Lieutenant Quinn speaking.
Hello, this is Detective Claudette Wallace, NYPD, calling to check on the status of one of your cases.
No, B?
The Bay Harbor butcher.
Sorry, did you say the Bay Harbor butcher?
Correct.
Yeah, that case has been closed for years.
I met your captain, who is actively pursuing it.
What?
I said your captain is...
It's not our captain. I mean, he was our captain, but he retired.
He is no longer an active law enforcement officer.
No. I don't know what the fuck he's doing in New York.
Piece by piece, Wallace started connecting threads. Dexter's proximity to every suspicious event, the way he always seemed just out of reach, and Batista's strange determination to prove Dokes' innocence. At first, Wallace thought Batista might simply be delusional, but now the evidence whispered a different truth.
Oh, just one more thing. Your crowbar theory is interesting, but I couldn't help but notice the blood spatter is more consistent with A longer object, something with a handle that could be swung. Maybe with a point at the end, like a hook.
Dexter wasn't the victim of an obsessed ex-cop. He was the Bay Harbor butcher Batista had been chasing all along. By the end of episode 8, the focus wasn't on Batista's obsession anymore. It was on Wallace. Batista's reputation was in ruins, his credibility shredded, but in the background, Wallace had absorbed everything. Batista's accusations weren't dismissed completely, they were repurposed. She filtered out his desperation and kept the one undeniable truth. Dexter was hiding something. And with every quiet clue, every contradiction, every lie Dexter spun, Wallace reached the only conclusion that made sense. Dexter Morgan is the Bay Harbor butcher. For the first time since Dokes' death, someone with authority knows the truth. And this time, Dexter isn't just being chased by a deranged ex-cop or a suspicious partner. He's facing a detective who actually believes in the evidence. So what happens now? Does Wallace confront Dexter directly, forcing him into the most dangerous corner of his life? Does she continue gathering proof, building the case that no one else could? Or, perhaps most chilling of all, does she keep her knowledge close, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? One thing's certain, Batista's fall might ironically become Wallace's rise. By dismissing Batista, Dexter thought he removed his greatest threat. Instead, he cleared the path for someone even more dangerous. Someone calm, someone sharp, someone who already knows the truth. Dexter has always been able to escape suspicion by manipulating those around him. But Wallace isn't blinded by emotion or history. She isn't weighed down by guilt. She's methodical, careful, and relentless, which makes her the most dangerous enemy Dexter has ever faced. For years, Dexter has lived by a code that allowed him to survive in the shadows. But with Wallace now holding the truth, the shadows are gone, and the Bay Harbor butcher's secret may finally be exposed. Detective Wallace has changed the game. Dexter Morgan is no longer untouchable. The truth is out there, and Wallace has it in her hands. The only question left is, what will she do with it? Will Wallace risk everything to bring Dexter down? Or will Dexter find a way to silence her before she can act? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to know if you think Wallace is the one who finally ends Dexter's story. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Dexter, Resurrection Deep Dives. Because with Wallace now in play, the Bay Harbor butcher's days are numbered.
It's like I'm back in Miami. Batista. Angel!
Dexter Morgan and Angel Batista finally come face to face in Dexter, Resurrection. And this time, it's not as old friends. It's the start of a rivalry that could end in prison or death. Because after the shocking events of episode 7, Batista isn't just suspicious anymore, he's ready to take Dexter down. But how did we get here? And what moments in this episode prove Batista is the biggest threat Dexter has ever faced? Episode 7, titled Course Correction, is where everything shifted. The story begins at Prater's mansion, where Dexter and the Gemini killers are locked in a tense power struggle. The group's trust is fractured. Mia's death and Lowell's disappearance have everyone on edge. And in the middle of it all, Dexter finds himself forced to explain his own ritual. Now, here's the shocking part. Instead of faking it, Dexter essentially tells the truth, carefully avoiding his identity as the Bay Harbor butcher, but still close enough to his real methods that Prater buys in completely. That decision cements Dexter as more than an acquaintance. He's now Prater's friend, a dangerous connection that gives him protection, but also draws even more suspicion. At the same time, Batista's storyline begins to flare up. He's watching Dexter closely, connecting dots that have been left dangling since Miami. And while Dexter thinks he's still 2 steps ahead, Batista has already started laying traps, planting AirPods in Dexter's car to track him, listening, waiting, and preparing for the moment of truth. This is where things get emotional, because fans remember Batista as the loyal friend, the warm presence at Miami Metro, the man who always had Dexter's back. He was one of the few who actually cared about Dexter as a person. But now, that loyalty has been burned away. Batista has become something else, a relentless hunter. What makes it even more powerful is the motivation. Batista isn't in this for personal glory. He's carrying the weight of everything that went unsolved in Miami. The Bay Harbor butcher case, Laguerta's suspicions, the betrayals, the blood that still stains Dexter's past. And deep down, Batista feels betrayed. He wasn't just fooled by a colleague, he was fooled by a friend.
If I really am who you think I am, this can't possibly end well for you.
I'll take my chances, buddy.
And that betrayal has hardened him into someone willing to sacrifice anything, even his life, to finally bring justice. That transformation from friend to enemy is what makes this rivalry the most tragic and dangerous one Dexter has ever faced. Then we get to the ending of episode 7, and it's nothing short of masterful. Dexter thinks he's in the clear. He's secured his blood slide, cleaned up the mess, and is about to move on. But upstairs, something terrifying is waiting for him. Angel Batista. In a scene that could go down as one of the tensest moments in Dexter history, Batista is casually teaching Blessing's family about Miami life. On the surface, it looks innocent, but beneath the surface, every word drips with subtext, because Dexter knows, and Batista knows. And for the first time, they're both standing on the knife's edge of the truth. What makes this scene so chilling is the restraint. Batista could expose Dexter right there, in front of Blessing's family. He could blow it all open, but he doesn't. Instead, he chooses something far scarier: subtle confirmation. Their conversation is laced with threats. Batista makes it clear he's one step ahead. He's already tracking Dexter, and he won't stop until he gets justice for Miami. It's not a bluff. It's a declaration of war. The tragedy of it all is that Dexter and Batista used to be allies. They laughed together, they fought side by side, and now their friendship has rotted into a battle for survival. For Dexter, the stakes have never been higher. Batista isn't some random killer or reckless enemy. He knows Dexter better than almost anyone. He knows the history, he knows the patterns, and most importantly, he has the resolve to see it through. Which raises the ultimate fan question: who walks away from this rivalry alive? Will Batista finally succeed where everyone else has failed, ending Dexter's story in a courtroom or a prison cell? Or will Dexter do what he's always done and silence his enemy before it's too late? This isn't just another cat and mouse subplot. This is the emotional core of Resurrection, a battle between two men who once called each other brother, now fated to destroy one another. What episode 7 makes clear is that Batista isn't a side character anymore. He's the storm that's been building in the background for years. And now, it's finally breaking. This isn't like Trinity, where Dexter fought a monster unlike himself. It isn't like Miami Metro, where suspicion always fizzled out. This is personal. This is justice versus survival, loyalty turned lethal. And for the first time, Dexter is staring down an enemy he can't manipulate, charm, or outthink. Batista has nothing to lose and everything to prove. And that's why this rivalry might be the most powerful storyline in Dexter history. Not because of the kills, not because of the secrets, but because of the tragedy. Two friends, two brothers, and only one of them can survive what's coming. So ask yourself, will Dexter finally lose to the one man who knows him best? Or is Batista destined to become just another bloodslide in the box? What do you think? Will Batista finally take down Dexter, or will Dexter add his old friend to the collection? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you're still watching, type Dark Passenger so I know you're part of the real fans who want to see this rivalry through to the end. Charlie isn't just suspicious. All signs point to her knowing exactly who Dexter really is. And if that's true, then her next move could decide whether he lives or dies. Because when someone with Charlie's skills sees through your disguise, it's not a question of if she'll act, it's when. But how could she possibly have figured it out? The answer lies in her background, her skills, and a trail of clues Dexter probably didn't even realize he left behind. From the start, Charlie isn't portrayed as your average bodyguard. She's a former special ops agent, now head of security for billionaire Leon Prater, a man obsessed with serial killers and their memorabilia. But Charlie's role isn't just to protect Prater, she's his fixer, the person who quietly solves problems with precision, efficiency, and a level of skill that makes her more dangerous than anyone else in the room. Her introduction tells us everything. She's sent to track down Ronald "Red" Schmidt, a rideshare driver killer terrorizing New York City. Red's motive is personal. After losing his father to suicide when the taxi industry collapsed, he blames drivers for his family's pain and kills them one by one. It takes Charlie 3 full weeks to find him. That level of effort means she would have studied him inside and out, his profile, his habits, his entire background. She delivers Prater's invitation to join the gathering of killers. Dexter gets to Red and kills him. Then Dexter takes Red's place, hoping to trick both Charlie and Prater into thinking he's the man she spent weeks hunting. And here's where the problem starts for Dexter. Charlie's skill set makes it almost impossible to believe she'd mistake him for someone else. The first clue: when Charlie searches Red's home, the first place she looks for his trophies is inside the air conditioning unit. That's not the most obvious spot unless you've seen it before. It's exactly where Dexter used to hide his own trophies back in Miami. The precision of that choice hints she may already know about his methods. The second clue: her disdain for killers is consistent and intense. She calls Red a psycho without hesitation. She kills Keith, the can clubber, with minimal provocation. She refuses to even be in the same room when Prater opens his vault of serial killer memorabilia, making a quick exit the moment it's mentioned. This isn't just professional detachment, it's personal disgust. The third clue: Charlie has access to tracking tech and a network of connections through Prater's empire. All guests at his dinner were given phones, and phones can be tracked. That means she could easily see that Red suddenly stopped going home, suddenly stopped killing, and suddenly started visiting one location over and over again: Dexter's. The fourth clue: she may already know Dexter by name. Blessing, his landlord and new friend, often greets him through a Ring camera, calling him Dexter, loud enough for anyone nearby to hear. For someone in Charlie's position, overhearing that would be enough to connect the dots. And then there's the bigger picture. Prater has Trinity's hammer and knows his kill pattern. He has memorabilia from some of the most infamous killers alive. He's wealthy enough to dig into anyone's past. If even Trinity's own family could figure out Dexter's real identity after Rita's murder, then it's hard to imagine Charlie and Prater, with their resources, wouldn't. It's not just about recognizing Dexter's face. It's about recognizing his pattern. Red's killing spree ends the moment Dexter takes over his identity. Red's home in New York sits untouched. The man she supposedly spent 3 weeks tracking never returns. For a woman with Charlie's level of precision, those are red flags you can't miss. So the question becomes, if Charlie knows, why isn't she saying anything? Here's where it gets interesting. Charlie's disgust for killers might be genuine, but Dexter isn't just any killer. As the Bay Harbor butcher, he kills other killers. That might make him useful to her. If she's as calculated as she appears, she could see Dexter as a perfect tool to clean up threats without getting her hands dirty. But that doesn't make him safe. The moment Dexter becomes a liability, Charlie has everything she needs to take him out: training, resources, and the element of surprise. This creates a dangerous balance. Both of them know the other is capable. Both are pretending to play along. But every shared glance, every conversation, every silence is loaded with the unspoken question: who will make the first move? For Dexter, the danger isn't whether Charlie can kill him, it's whether she's already planning to. And that's why Charlie may be the most dangerous person in Dexter's life right now. If you were in Dexter's shoes, would you confront her or keep playing along? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into Dexter Resurrection. Forever.